I'm a dragon, and I have tried to behave as if I was, you know, a monkey. And that looks ridiculous, because if you're a dragon, you cannot help it. It is just what you are, and you have to deal with it. Nobody else can help you in how to act when you are a dragon, because nobody else is a dragon, and that's why they cannot like teach you. You have to figure it out yourself. So I'm 38, and it took me a while to figure it out. So once I figured out that I am a dragon, then like things started happening. But when I realized that I am the dragon, it actually like it gave me the kind of not only calling but even obligation to, you know, put this into practice. So if I wanted to be a rock star, and I'm the dragon, so I mean, if I am not a rock star, then I am doing violence to myself. Because as dragon, I can do what I want. My calling is nothing less than like saving the world. And to put it more in like specific words, it is raising the level of human experience and relations and societal kind of paradigm to a level that is higher than the current one. And in particular, the current like society is based on control, and that is overdue. We don't want to be controlled. We want to do what we want, and that's what we are doing. But most of the people have less resources and less kind of less opportunity, because the whole system of control is like pressing them down. We want to graduate from scarcity to abundance, because by nature, the nature is abundant, it is not scarce. The scarcity is imposed upon us by monetary system basically that is based on debt. Because if the only way to get money to existence is to take on debt, and you need to pay interest for the debt. So like over a century that this system has been in operation, the like amount of debt in the world is like many-fold compared to the amount of money. So that's obviously an issue, because like most debtors can never pay the debt that they owe. And that gives the control the possibility, because then the creditors can control them. For instance, the nation states must give away their valuable resources. Like the people and the businesses are foreclosed because they need to pay the debt. And it is designed that it can never be paid. Like some you know, instances, if they are successful, they can pay back, but like system-wide, it cannot be done. And the third thing is to the consciousness that's anyway rising. I mean, I'm not doing it, it is happening. It means that people will more and more understand like what, how the like soul plane even works. That is it like really so that we are like even separate individuals, and if we are, like in what way we are, and does it really make sense to be selfish, for instance? Because once you reach a certain level of soul like evolution and consciousness and like unraveling of like shit and I mean revealing your true self and increasing your connection to your higher self and like many things or same thing with many names, then you realize that when you hurt your neighbor, you hurt yourself, and this empathy is a thing that makes you act in a way that that you just don't want to hurt others, but rather you want to serve them, because that gives pleasure to yourself also. So this thing, for many of us, it's been our mode of operation since birth. But we want to speed up its application like all over the world. We even want to make the society, the paradigm of society that is currently control and competition. We can upgrade it quite a bit. Like in practice, what I felt that I am called to do is creating a like conceptual digital, so we are not talking about anything physical really. We are talking about like information level, like conceptual, like very deep thing what we are creating, some, let's say, framework that is so, like we are in search for the, not Da Vinci code, but let's say Dragon code. So if we find the correct parameters for this code that we are seeking, then we can encode the human existence to this level, to this framework, so that all the people are willing to use it, because they suddenly find that it empowers them a great deal compared to the way that they are currently using their existing, let's say, like banking systems and all applications and basically everything that you have where you need to log in the internet. You can think about it in your free time, like how these things work and how it is possible to make them work if you organize it the best you can. And once you do it, of course we are upping the stakes here. Like I cannot force anyone to do anything, because I subscribe to the principle of sovereignty, meaning that I do what I want. But it also means that everyone else can do what they want. So I need to be smart here, how to incentivize people to use my thing that I only managed to describe in a way that even I myself have no possibility of understanding it. Because it is, it's sort of simple. I can tell you exactly how it operates, but to understand why it is so profound, it takes some time. So I need to incentivize people to use it. Creating it is not actually that difficult. But the incentive is that, okay, we are helping people reach this new world, this new stage of humankind evolution. And the way how this is helped is that we utilize computers and software wisely, powerfully doing stuff for us. For instance, this banking system that I've been saying so many times that I think it works badly. Well, it does, because once I needed to pay some money, like transfer some value to my friend who physically resides in Thailand. It took me 4 hours to do it. It doesn't make sense with Bitcoin, because I was buying Bitcoin from him. With Bitcoin, he only needed to send the Bitcoin. It took like maximum 30 seconds to do it. So what we can do is even better. Like when we are sending money inside this network from one person to another, we have actually reduced the sending money to its most basic fundamentals. It is the command, the intent, what you want to achieve, and that is given. Because you are sending money, it is giving. Then you need to know how much you're gonna give. Or actually you need to define that it is money that you are giving. Then how much and to whom. These are the principles, the parameters. You cannot omit these. If you do, then you cannot give, because there is nothing that can parse you the amount if you don't give the amount. And we make our system such that it only operates at this maximum efficiency. So if what you need in order to give is to specify the item, the amount, and the recipient, so we are doing exactly that. And imagine how powerful the thing gets when it gains traction, when more and more people join. Because at the moment, especially with legacy currency, but even with Bitcoin, you need so many things to be in place in order to send some value. But in the new world, in the kingdom of the dragon, which basically is the subset of this whole kingdom. The whole kingdom is the whole of humanity raising to another level of consciousness, and also practical societal level is changing. The kingdom of the dragon is more like this spearhead that I am like actively developing and calling the shots in doing it, because I have the vision, and people can join me if they want. Like in the big kingdom, everybody is sovereign over themselves, and of course that's the thing all the time. But right now, I am sovereign over my vision, and my vision is that everybody in this room would like seriously listen to my words and get this vision and be willing to help me. Because if you don't want to help me, that's completely fine. But I think it makes sense for you to help me, because you are in a prime position for helping me, and like whatever you want as your reward, you can have it. Just tell me what we are doing as regards the monetary system. Because let's be truthful here. It is a big thing to change the monetary system of the whole world. I don't mean that I am doing anything to Bitcoin. In fact, when I'm successful, Bitcoin is also going to rise a lot. And the reason for this is that Bitcoin is trustless money. It exists without anybody's permission. What I am creating and propagating and seeking to make it so big that it is dethroning the fiat money mafia, which means that it will have to be in tens of trillions in market cap. It's so, it is a big thing, and it is not going to be based on the trustless principle of Bitcoin. It rather will be based on trust, and it is trust on me. So that's why it is like, it is a big venture. I got to get people to trust on me so much that the value, like the monetized value of this trust, is in tens of trillions, or let's put it in trillions, because 10 trillions is what I'm kind of having this figure in my plans. And how to achieve this is that I'm using the same principle as the startups and the principle of Bitcoin. Because as we know, the startups are companies where somebody has an idea, and then he collects a team that is able to deliver like some product or service or concept or something that is like bringing money and it is profitable based on that idea. Usually those ideas are something that grows very fast. So to make this reality, they need money, they need financial resources to pay their salaries and like make this happen. So the way how they get the money is that they evaluate or get somebody to evaluate the like monetary value of their idea. They start a company, they issue stock, and they sell some part of the stock to the financiers and keep some part to themselves. So they have joint venture of idea, work, and money. And when they execute their plan, if it is successful, it occasionally is. Most startups fail, of course. But when it's successful, then everybody gets rich. So this principle is quite powerful, actually. But let's take Bitcoin principle also. Bitcoin's principle is that, okay, for the first time in the history of humanity, we can make an invention that rewards its adopters directly. Because, like inventions so far, when you start doing something great, let's say mobile phones, for instance, they were a great thing, and the early adopters of mobile phones are like the pioneers of society. They are like they are there in the forefront. But the early mobile phones were very clumsy and very big, and they cost money, and they didn't have much utility. So these adopters of mobile phones actually needed to pay for being there. But the early adopters of Bitcoin got rewarded directly, not from anyone's hand, but directly from the network for being there. So this is also quite important principle when you think how largely you can apply it. So when you combine that, you can monetize your idea, and you combine it with the principle that you can make something immaterial. Bitcoin is nothing. It is just a piece of software that is adding transactions to a ledger. It is nothing. It doesn't produce profit, for instance. It doesn't have like consciousness. or like, so you combine these two ideas, you monetize your idea, and then you make it such that the early adopters gain the most, not only financially, but also in other ways. But like other ways has always applied. First adopters of internet gained the most in other ways, like they didn't like directly go pay for using internet, but the early adopters of Bitcoin did. And we are going to do the same. When I joined Bitcoin, what does it mean to join Bitcoin, really?
Invested in it?
Yeah, it can happen in three dimensions. First is the knowledge of it. Second is the participation of your like work and effort. And third is the financial integration. So I heard about it in 2009, and I dismissed it. In 2010, I dismissed it as being too technical. In 2010, I heard that, okay, Mt. Gox was open, I can now buy it with money. But I dismissed it as it was too cheap. Okay, the following year I dismissed it third time, and now it was too expensive. Because in 9 months it had gone up 100 times, 100x. Actually about 500x from the start of Mt. Gox, and more than 1000x from the price level that was before Mt. Gox. So anyway, now it was too expensive. But then I gathered my shit and said that, okay, I'm kicking against the goads here. Bitcoin is here to stay, and I am just making up excuses to not participate. So what I did is that I bought some. But even then, I only bought like a very small amount of my money I invested, and I didn't give like too many fucks about Bitcoin. It was 2012 October that I joined Bitcoin Talk. And that was something that started to make a global footprint, because then I started researching Bitcoin and I started giving a fuck. And also, like after I started giving a fuck, my knowledge about it increased. And when my knowledge increased, then also my eagerness to participate more in the financial level also increased. And I already was a startup entrepreneur, so I had some financial resources in my command. So what I did during 2013 is that I invested a significant portion of my wealth to Bitcoin. And that was a good year to do it, by the way. So, like the same principles apply, like completely, fully apply with the Kingdom of the Dragon as well. Like people first hear about it, then they can start participating in it, in practical level. Because unlike Bitcoin, where the practical way for you to acquire Bitcoins was to buy them or to mine them, and both of them mean that you have to pay legacy money, legacy resources in order to acquire Bitcoins. So by this activity, you did not yet gain anything. We seek to grow the number of activists to 1,000 by this time next year, to 1 million by this time in 2 years, and to 1 billion in 3 years. And what we are doing during these 3 years is that we develop this software, or these softwares. There is approximately like 10 major pieces, but the core is basically very simple. It only consists of global authentication to your account, and then your basic information as character, as player, as a citizen, and then the global ownership ledger for monetary balances, items, and titles, and that's it. So, and then about 10 things that are approximately as difficult to implement, meaning that they are very easy to implement. So this was the tech side, and then the propagation side I already talked about, and then we also making this the community that is grown from the people who have seen the vision and want to participate and want to integrate financially, either by buying in, it is possible with your legacy money, or by being so active that you actually get the weekly allowance from the Dragon. Actually, you get it directly from the source, because the funny thing is that when your mission is to dethrone the financial system that is currently, in force, and then your strategy how to do it is that you develop a bigger one. a better one, that means it will become as valuable or more valuable as the previous one. Like if you are creating all this value, and we are talking about trillions here, so you can give this value to whomever you want. And that's what we are doing, and that's why this is so, financially rewarding to participate in the kingdom of the dragon, because like we are not trying to cut costs. We are trying to find as many and as powerful as possible ways to give free money to people. Yeah, because this is a new thing and it hasn't been tried before. That's why it will take some time to get the code correct. And that's why we are building this slowly. But once we get 1,000 people and if we develop some things that you will hear about in the workshops, then what happens is that this is becoming quite powerful. Welcome to the kingdom of the dragon. Thank you.
Thank you.